Good morning, everyone. I thought you guys could use a little bit of a, nice little vibe here this morning, right? Instead of all that gloomy storm talk stuff. Hope you all are doing well. I'm wave meteorologist Brian Goode. It's going to be a fairly quick one today, shocker, but I do have a lot to cover. So a lot of good stuff packed in a short amount of time. There's going to be a press conference coming up in about 15 minutes on the news side. So there is a limit for me being on here today so that we make sure to get to that news conference. So just kind of a heads up on that. I am on, of course, on Facebook, X, as well as YouTube, on Twitch, and those of you that are on Insta, or I always say Instagram, sorry. I'm such a boomer. TikTok. Those who are on TikTok right now, that's your feed right now, watching a little bit behind the scenes off to the side here. I have a chance to talk to you all a little bit before the show got started. So I will work you guys a little more into the blog coming up soon, I promise. But until then, you guys get to hang out, kind of like like a co-pilot kind of thing. All right, let's get right to it. 48 days and counting until the autumnal equinox. Oh, I can't wait. And you're really going to be wanting that once you see how things are trending in the long term. There's your hint of where we're going. I know. Don't throw anything at the TV or the smartphone device. You can see down in Bardstown, not bad, partly sunny sky. I love that effect of the brightness behind the courthouse square there into Bardstown itself. Temperatures right now coming at 75 degrees in Louisville, 74 at Fort Knox, 75 as you head toward Bardstown. Not a whole lot of movement today. Once again, we do have clouds in the area, and these are going to fill in as we evolve throughout the morning time period. But I think overall we're going to get a mix of sun and some clouds coming into play as we evolve through the day today, and still a chance for some downpours. By the way, did I mention who the winner was on the YouTube side, or who got on first today? It was Ryan Adams. I think you guys are aware. The YouTubers seem upset about that. Ryan, congratulations on being first. On Insta, I don't know who's on Instagram first, but I do know on TikTok, it may have been Carla. I'm not sure. I'm looking for a name. I see Liam, and I see RJ. Hi, RJ. Hope you're doing well. Okay, so let's get right into it. There is a boundary that is still stuck in the area. We call this an inverted trough. This is going to be the focal point for the showers and storms today that we'll try to fire up, right? This morning, I already got a few downpours that have been popping randomly here today across Indiana. Localized heavy rainfall amounts, it's mainly the key with that. Otherwise, this boundary being stuck still along the I-65 area, does snake a little more west, is where most of the thunderstorm action today will fire. Time period has been averaging about between 4 and 7 p.m. for anything to pop. It would drift to the north very slow, could have some heavy rain. I will say the PWatts, or the amount of moisture in the air, has decreased today compared to yesterday. So there's not as much of a concern of very high rain totals, but some localized heavy downpours, absolutely, especially when it comes to driving through them. Visibility can be dropped briefly, and Louisville, again, is going to be in that zone where they will pop very close to the metro. As we evolve further into the weekend, later this week in the weekend, we'll be watching this tropical low that is off the southeast corner of the country here. There's a high over it, so overall we're not getting a huge throw-in of clouds back over us, but as the weekend evolves, we should get a little more of that flow over the Appalachians that may try to throw in some clouds or even try to enhance a couple of thunderstorms in our area as it kind of hugs the other side of the mountains there. But since it's a downsloping effect, usually we tend to stay dry and hot. So I'm not overly sold on the rain chance being a big problem this weekend, but if anything, the high temperature forecast for the weekend could go up, depending on how strong this feature gets. If it gets really strong and it's just off the coastline, we could end up a little bit more of a downsloping effect here locally, which would allow for heating to build in. So I wouldn't rule that out, but just kind of FYI on how the weekend is looking. So speaking of the tropics, quick update there as we are tracking 3 main features. Oh, actually, hold on. Let me get into the short term with this rain chance, and then I'll get into the tropics. Here are the pop-ups today. Again, very random on how they'll form, but in general, it'll be our area. That's where the trough is still located or hanging out. Again, 4 to 7 p.m. average time. They fade out. We get into the evening. We're done. Tomorrow, it's still there, but it's more of the heat island issue again. So not overly sold on much, more of a 1 or 2 that form versus maybe 6 or 7 that could form today. The coverage just keeps decreasing as the week evolves here. So still have a rain chance in for Wednesday, even around the heat island effect. And even Thursday, I think it's possible. I mean, look, this is our in-house model. As we get into the afternoon on Thursday, it's right there at the heat island that thunderstorms popped, even produced an outflow. You probably couldn't see that. Looks like a little ray of sunshine. A little rain formed away from the city from the thunderstorm winds. But that's Thursday. It's a high-res model, so sometimes it depicts up the heat island impacts very well, actually. A lot of the high-reses do, so it's pretty impressive they're able to do that. But in general, coverage will be going down each day, and the thermometer will be going up slowly, but there will be a pretty obvious increase. All right, let's get into Dexter as we evolve into the Atlantic. Oh, Dexter's not looking too good today, right? Losing a lot of its canopy and its thunderstorm setup, so barely holding on as a tropical storm. The outlook is to hold on just a bit longer, but it's such a highly sheared environment once you get in this part of the Atlantic. I just don't know if it's going to make it that long. But, oh well. Dexter's got a very short time, it looks like, on this planet, the way it's looking. But we do have 2 other features we're tracking, of course, and one is that tropical low that is off the Carolina coast. Again, we'll be watching it to see its influence, and that really would be its main influence for us, is going to be whether or not we get any type of issue with downsloping winds coming in from the Appalachians or thunderstorms. If it goes too far west, thunderstorms could actually become a little bit more into our forecast for part of the weekend and early next week. But so far, everything I've been looking at really keeps this mainly offshore. There's a large high over it right now, which is allowing it to be relatively trapped. And it's a good setup for something to develop with a high over it like that. But there's not a ton of organization just yet, but we're watching it. And of course, everyone's talking about the development coming off the coast of Africa. There it is there, way at the bottom of the screen. That is the wave we're going to be watching that so far, and I'm sure a lot of you on Instagram and on TikTok and X, especially X, have seen all these posts that have been going out about, you know, oh, here comes a major hurricane to the United States, and here's the date it's going to hit. But we can't do that right now. It's fascinating that the technology has gotten to where the models show certain scenarios. But boy, I got to caution you, when you get into a setup of a storm forming in the ITCZ, which is the intertropical convergence zone that this is located in, there's a lot of possibilities that can happen down the road, a lot. And yes, there is a chance it could go right into the Gulf and move as leftovers into the Ohio Valley. There's a scenario that plays that out, yes. But there are several scenarios that also bring it north of the mountains and again, or north of the islands and south of the islands for the latter half of the month. In fact, the odds right now on the tropical low are 10 to 40% on development and about 50% for the main tropical low off the coast of Africa. This is the one that will be the leader in the outlook as we head down the road. So it's time for your favorite segment of the day. Do you might know what that is? See who's going to be first on that one. Carrie, P watts mean heavy rain. P watts, P-W-A-T-S, P watts. I guess it does sound kind of weird when I say it that way. How you doing, TikTokers? What are you saying? Just got the number 3 grifter badge. Hey, congrats. Who was it that got that? Riviera? Well, congrats to you. Hope you guys are well there on TikTok. Again, I'll be talking to you guys more and more in the days ahead. Drawing time. All right, good. Art class time. Here we go. Here's the concern I've got when it comes to the tropics. We have seen a constant feed of fronts that keep dropping down from the upper Midwest and southern Canada into the Northeast. One went really far south, gave us the nice weekend we just had, right? The one for next week, it's still there. But boy, it doesn't look like last weekend. It looks like it gets close to us and then just stalls. May not have a chance to move through at all. It'll just be near us to keep the thunderstorm chance around, but far enough away where the temperatures just don't change a whole lot. We do see an established southeast high pressure here that gets going as we head into mid to late August. So if we get this, whatever feature it is, coming in, how it approaches is very, very important. If it comes in on the southern part of the Antilles, it has a good chance to stay south of Puerto Rico, the Dominican Republic, and Haiti. May not be good news for Jamaica and that kind of a setup. And then we may see it enter into the Bay of Campeche at that point, and that would then obviously put the entire Gulf, even Mexico, into the crosshairs for any potential development. Anywhere, really, in that zone, from the Gulf all the way to Florida, would be at risk, right? The second scenario, still playing out with the high pressure, but it actually approaches north of the Antilles. And if it approaches north of the Antilles, I think it has a better chance to stay more into the Bahamas and maybe more of an issue for the East Coast or Florida, but it depends. If that high is still where it is, it would ricochet off the high and make a strong turn. Or if it can play out just right, it would slide under the high and then go around the curvature of the high and turn north into the United States. This would all be in the last 10 days of August. Long way to go, guys, before we see that happen, okay? So I just at least want to give you the idea that we don't know. We know there's a likely feature that will be on the map, but where's it going to go? Don't get too caught up on posts if you see them, because honestly, you can pick any area from Cape Hatteras all the way to the west of the Bay of Campeche, and those will have probably equal odds right now. So just give it time, but I think how it approaches the Allen chain is important. North or south will really sort of tell the storyline. All right, for us, as I mentioned, for the weekend, it's all about this tropical low, whether or not it throws any clouds in our area or not. Not sure if it will. Otherwise, we'll end up with the front that just gets to the point of teasing us for next Tuesday and Wednesday. You see it kind of dropping in ahead of the heat bubble itself, but just doesn't really want to come all the way through. Just kind of hangs out the middle of next week. And then we'll see as we get into the tropics whether or not just beyond the 10-day we'll have something show up on our southern maps there. But here's the entire 10-day, and yeah, did I even show you all? I didn't even look at you all today, did I? Hi, everyone on TikTok saw me, but I didn't see you all today. I'm sorry, I didn't get a chance to see you all today. Hi, how you doing? Okay, I gotta go now. You see the highs for the weekend in the 90s. This may trend higher. This may very well trend higher, especially as we dry out. I wouldn't roll out another round of mid-90s. I know you don't want to hear that, but it's possible. It would be later next week if it's going to happen. But for right now, we'll generally stay in the lower 90s, which is just slightly above normal. So let's hope we get a little bit of rain today and tomorrow, because it may take some time to get some decent rain showers back in the area. All right, guys, I'm going to do a long-term update coming up tomorrow, but I got to go for now because, again, we've got to get ready for the press conference starting coming up in a few minutes. Look for that notification on the news app. That'll be coming out here in a matter of minutes on the Wave News app itself and on wave3.com. See you tomorrow, guys.